Hello everyone, it's Iveoma, your guide to Africa, and today I am doing a very different video than I usually do. I am going to be talking about the biggest culture shock I had since moving back, and it's pretty much the dating scene here and how it's dominated by married men. Let's talk about this because this is important, right? Many of you guys are relocating and maybe looking for someone or just want to understand like how the dating scene is in Lagos. So let me preface this. Lagos is split up into like mainland and then the island. I live on the island, so my entire experience is the island experience. So when you first get here, you're going to notice right away that many people, men and women, don't really wear wedding rings. And it's probably because honestly, wedding rings aren't really indigenous to our culture. It's from Europe. Maybe the heat makes people's fingers swell. A lot of people just don't wear wedding rings. They just don't. And then secondly, the wedding ring kind of doesn't matter. Like men with wedding rings will approach you. It means nothing. I'm going to give you some examples of what has happened to me that I feel like sums up. So let me give you the first example. I walked into a restaurant and this guy looks at me and he does like a double take. I noticed him do this very dramatic reaction. Just continue to my seat, whatever. I don't care. Get to my table. He walks up to me and then he's like, hello, my name is, I don't know, let's call him Chica. My name is Chica. My brother likes women who look like you, right? And I'm like, okay. He's like, how long are you gonna be here? I said, well, probably for, 30 minutes. I mean, I'm waiting for my friend, she's late. He calls his brother on speakerphone in front of me, right? Hey, I'm in this restaurant. I'm with this woman that I think you would really, really like. She seems intelligent. She's very pretty. His brother is like, wait, where are you? Okay, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm gonna come right now. So the brother comes in. The brother is actually incredibly good looking. Friend came and so we're all hanging out. I did not ask him if he was married. That behavior implies you're single, right? No. He tells me his full name, and this is an Igbo guy, so that's the only reason I know how to spell his name. So I Google his name, first, middle, last. After his LinkedIn profile was his traditional wedding video. So I look and I'm like, no way. It is his video. The first scene is this dress is getting a little big on me, so I'm sorry if I'm gonna flash you, is him with his brother. And then a couple seconds into the video is his wife. So I pause the video and I start laughing. Me and his wife, we look like we are from the same lineage. We look like we're from the same family. We look like we share the same parents. Her face is my face. Her shape, her body type, her size is my size. The only difference between the two of us was that she was much darker skinned than me. That is it. We looked like we were like this. I was like, wait a minute. This man sees essentially a doppelganger of his brother's wife, and then calls his brother to come down to connect with a lookalike wife. I was like, wait, that was so ratchet. It was hilarious. Then the second example I'm gonna give. My friends and I, we go out and then my friend sees somebody that she knows and that person had a lot of friends there. Like I would say like 10, 12 friends. So we just go to that person's table, we're chilling, we're having fun. I meet a guy in the friend group, right? And so the guy is like really flirting with me. He's like, this guy was very good looking. And then he even tells his friends, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I met a girl. And so at the end of the night, by this point, I didn't ask him if he was married. He didn't have a wedding ring on and he was behaving again like a single man. And this was when I first got here, so I didn't even ask. He wanted to show me, he got a new Range Rover, right? And he wanted to show me his Range Rover. He wanted me to know that he had money, right? He's like, oh, while we have Uber, come look at my car. And so I'm like, okay. And we're looking at his car. He opens the door and I immediately see women's heels in the passenger seat. Like I look at the heels and then I look at him and then I say, are you married? And this time he's holding my hand, right? He's like swinging it back and forth, like very playfully. And he doesn't even skip a beat. He says, yeah, I am. Is that a problem? Like, bruh. So the third example I thought was kind of like the funniest. So I'm at the bank and this other guy, some wealthy guy, has some businesses or whatever. He was making a big scene, looking around, then he sees me and I like kind of avert my eyes. When I leave the bank, cross the highway to get to another side to take a bus, I'm about to walk across the parking lot to cross the street. And so he walks up to me and he says, hey, do you need a ride, right? And by the way, he's an older guy and he had like the thickest wedding band ever. You know those man bands? And it blinded me. When he was moving his hand, like it was so white that the light hit it and then it reflected into my eyes. Like, you ever been blinded by a ring? That's how his ring was blinding me. First of all, no, I don't even know you. Why would I get in your car? That doesn't make sense. So then he goes. So I think I see the last of him. Okay, so the parking lot's kind of big. When I told him no, I started walking, like crossing. I'm still walking across the parking lot. I'm not even at the road. I'm about to walk, and he cuts me off with his car. It was like a movie. Like I'm walking, and then suddenly a car just cuts me off, like a James Bond moment. It looked like a brand new G-Wagon. So he rolls down his window, AC is blowing, feeling the AC, like, and I'm standing outside. And he has Naira, like lots of Naira. Naira is a local currency here. He has lots of Naira in his hand, like on the chair and in his hand, right? And he says, "Are you sure about that ride?" I was done. I thought that was the funniest thing ever, and how transactional it was. He's like, "Look, I see a woman, I have a car, I got money, I can get this woman." This time I'm polite. I'm like, "No, thank you, sir. I appreciate it, but I'm okay." So he says, "Okay," then rolls up his window and then continues driving. The reason I gave those 3 examples is that I felt like it sums up kind of like my experience here. Like, okay, so the first one was a sibling that condoned it, right? And encouraged that behavior. Second one, his friends. He's in front of his friends, wildly flirting with a woman. Third one is a married man with a wedding ring who doesn't care. I don't even know what to say. But before you guys start typing, because I know right now people are typing, "Men are trash" in the comments. Before you type that, let me tell you, I actually think men and women here are doing the same thing, but women are a lot quieter about it and a little bit smarter. Here in Nigeria, honestly, I should be married. If you see someone of my age and you look at me, you see me, it appears as if I'm married. And let me tell you why, because in Nigeria, because even in my village, people believe this too. In Nigeria, if you see a woman who looks good and has a car, then it implies that some man is taking care of her. So her father is taking care of her husband or boyfriend. Somebody is the reason that this woman is shining like this. I always think that stereotype here is actually really strange because so many Nigerian women are actually really successful, like by themselves. A lot of these men who have been approaching me, "You're not asking me if I'm married?" And then on top of that, like other men are watching me eat dinner with another man, which could be my husband because this is Nigeria. Like that man can be my husband. They wait until he goes pays the bill or I go to the bathroom, right? And then they'll intersect me. And then they're like, "Oh, I think you're lovely. Can I have your phone number?" And they'll do it like that, like really, really fast. And at first I thought that was like kind of strange. Like you see me, a man, but you wait until he leaves to talk to me. That could be my husband. There are some people who approach me that I'm like, "Ooh," like, "Ugh." And then I'm like, no. The person you just saw me with is my husband and he wouldn't appreciate this. And the man will respond typically like, "So? I'm not talking to your husband, I'm talking to you." What? And then let me give you another example. Let me give you a very specific example. Is one of my friends, his car was towed and him and other people's cars were towed because they parked in the middle of the road. And so they were pissed off. So we go down to the tow yard. When people talk about money, I'm not there. Other people are trying to settle like bills because I really feel like my presence sometimes increases the bill. When there's money being discussed, I just excuse myself. I don't want the other person to look at me and be like, "You can afford her, so you can afford this bill." Like, I don't want that. And that has happened before. So what I did with my friend is like, I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna stand over here while you talk about, you negotiate the fee, you do whatever." So the owner of the restaurant comes with the manager and police, right? He's pissed off because so many of his customers got their car towed because they all went to his restaurant, right? And so he wanted to show in front of the customers, like, "I'm gonna stand up for you guys." So he comes with police. By the way, he's the owner of the restaurant, right? So he saw me and my friend together. We were together for 4 hours. So my friend is over there negotiating. And the owner goes over there first. And then he comes to me and he says, "I saw you earlier. I think you're very lovely. I would love your phone number." And then the second person, the manager, comes over. So the owner leaves me, gets in the car, they're waiting for the police to come. And then the owner jumps on the phone. And so the manager comes over and says, "Hey, I think you're really pretty. Can I have your phone number?" Literally. And the reason I whispered it is because he whispered it. He was looking around Bruh, what is going on here? You guys saw me cackling and laughing with my friend. The owner of the restaurant comes and speaks to me, and you see the owner, and you know why he's coming to speak to me. And then you come and speak to me after the owner, and you're whispering and looking around. It was a very interesting situation. And I felt like if I told that owner of the restaurant, hey, I'm married to him, that owner would not have cared. This guy was watching me. He knew. It was so weird. He's like, I know you ordered this. Did you enjoy that food? We made it special. Da 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 da. And this restaurant, by the way, was full. It's not like this was an empty restaurant. It was during a busy time. You saw me earlier. You remember what I ordered. And then you're asking me specifically, like, I don't know. And then that means you see me with my friend, and that can be my husband, and you're just, okay. That has been the biggest culture shock I've experienced since moving back. Tell me below what has been your biggest culture shock since moving to an African country. Got here. Remember, like, I got here in December. I was sick all of December. So really, this is my experience from January, February, and March, before the lockdown. This is life before quarantine. I think that men here are very comfortable approaching women even when they're with other men, because they don't care if that woman is married. And I think that means that they've had success with married women in the past. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that people just do this here. Like, this is part of the culture. And I realized when I got here that my parents and our parents, right, first and second gen parents, exported the most conservative aspects of the culture overseas. So we get confused. They exported a conservative aspect of the culture from 30, 40 years ago. And now I'm back in the heart of things, right? I'm back in the juice. I'm seeing, I'm like, oh, Nigerians aren't as conservative as one would think. One of my friends is Egyptian, and she was saying that she grew up really conservative Egyptian in Canada. But then when she went to Egypt, she's like, people here are not as conservative as we are in Canada. Like, how? How, Sway? And culture shifts and changes and it blends and it's all of these things. So now I'm here and now I know, like, you have to be wise. Like, this is the thing. You have to be wise. You really have to ask people if they're married. It doesn't matter if they aren't wearing a wedding ring. It doesn't matter how they're behaved. And I'm gonna say this for men and women. You really need to ask. They'll have a wife, a concubine, a girlfriend, and they will take you around. They'll take all of you around. So it's just very interesting. So here are my tips. Like, I think it's better to date people in the same social circle as you and then try to meet people through that.